And essentially, women don't ask. So forget the abuse or rape or violence, but just if you live a life normally, won't ask for or advocate for themselves. But when it comes to someone else, so your breaking point, Nidhi, is when your son was at risk of violence himself,
Yeah.
or growing up with a perspective about what love is. So the point is that if you're also, I'll speak to camera, but on gallery view. So if you are a woman and you're listening to this, I think the way that you can help yourself internally is see yourself in the third person. So look at yourself doing the thing as opposed to being yourself doing the thing, because then you can advocate for that character you're one step removed from. It's still you. It's just that what you're doing is you're going, I'm looking at myself, looking at the scene. Oh, this person down here, they can do anything. They're a superhero. Whatever I decide, that can be. And I think then that because the evidence is that they advocate more for someone else, I think that might help. The other thing I wanted to mention, and it's pretty harsh, frankly, but there's a book called The War on Women, and there was an infamous, but it's every day clearly, but there was an infamous gang rape of a girl and murder, and this is a BBC journalist covering the story, and from the judge to the lawyers to the doctors to this to that to the other, if there were men, what was she doing out on her own? Oh, she dressed like that. This rape culture, there's a website called everyone'sinvited.uk, and it's about in-school sexual assault. And it's got tens of thousands of stories. That's a bit of a downer, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
That's really sad because I think people don't realize. So I've got few people I know, so they're in their 40s and 50s now, and they had this sexual abuse, when they were 8 or 9, and still, they tell me that they have nightmares, they go to therapists, so it lasts, lifelong.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really really bad. But I like your advice looking at yourself from the third person's perspective. That's
It's
really
a
good. Yeah.
it's an NLP trick, and in fact, I learned it off Anthony Robbins. There was a very old film, and he was talking to a room. It must have been shot in the 80s, and he talked about this technique. So it's called disassociation.
I think that's another thing that you touched on there as well. It was like, it's like advocating advice for someone else. So I think that any an add-on to that is also, what would you tell your friend to do, or what would you tell your daughter to do? Because, and I don't know if anyone else does this, but I often give advice to other people that I really am giving to myself, if that makes sense. So it's almost like, again, like having that dissociative view, and it's like, no, you can do anything. You can change the world if you really want to. But as much as you're saying it to them, you're really saying it to yourself as well. The world is a mirror. Everything is a mirror.
Yeah.
Other people are mirrors. Experiences are mirrors. Things that we aren't aware of or don't see. Biggest mirrors. Yeah.
What do you mean by mirrors?
So use it. So I hope you're okay with this, Nidhi. But using the experience with your ex-husband, like him saying that you're ugly. So nothing is personal. I'm a big believer that nothing in the world is personal, and if someone is actually pointing something out in you, it's really something that they're unwilling to accept about and in themselves. Mm-hmm. So if he's saying that someone else is ugly, there's something about about physical appearance that is really really important to him. But it's important to him because there's an insecurity about that in himself.
But he used to consider himself as very smart, Aaron, on the other side.
But smart is one thing. Smart is one thing, but and smart is probably a higher status symbol for a man.
I mean handsome.